I heard my first number 3 days ago. I was standing in line at the coffee shop, scrolling through my phone, when the woman behind me leaned close. Her breath was warm against my ear. 7,412. I turned around, startled. She was already looking down at her phone, face blank, as if she hadn't said a word. I almost asked her what she meant, but something stopped me. The way she'd said it, flat and emotionless, like she was reading off a grocery list. But then it happened again. The barista handed me my coffee, and as our fingers touched, his eyes locked onto mine. 7,411. My stomach dropped. The number was different. One less. I stepped back, nearly spilling my drink, but he'd already turned to the next customer. That same vacant expression on his face. I left without saying a word, my hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the cup. I told myself it was a coincidence, maybe some kind of flash mob thing, or a social experiment. People do weird stuff for internet clout all the time. I'd probably see it trending on social media later, everyone laughing about how they'd freaked out strangers with random numbers, but no one else seemed to notice. I walked past a jogger in the park. As he passed, he turned his head, just slightly. 7,410. An old man on a bench, feeding pigeons. 7,409. A teenager on a skateboard. 7,408. Every single person, every single stranger. And the numbers kept going down. I went home and locked the door. I didn't leave my apartment for the rest of the day, pacing back and forth, trying to rationalize what was happening. Stress, maybe. I'd been working long hours, not sleeping well. Auditory hallucinations were a thing, right? My mind was playing tricks on me, except I could see their lips moving. I could see them turning to look at me, making sure I heard. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard those flat, emotionless voices, counting down. Counting down to what? I pulled my laptop into bed and started searching, hearing numbers from strangers. Countdown hallucinations. Schizophrenia symptoms. Everything I found pointed to mental illness or neurological disorders, which should have been reassuring. In a way, at least those were explainable. But deep down, I knew this was different. The next morning, I had to go out. I needed groceries, and I couldn't hide in my apartment forever. I put in earbuds and blasted music, thinking maybe if I couldn't hear them, it would stop. It didn't matter. The delivery guy dropping off a package pulled out one earbud and got close to my face. 7,203. I could barely hear him over the music, but I heard him. I felt the words more than heard them, like they bypassed my ears entirely and went straight into my brain. I stopped going outside except when absolutely necessary. I ordered everything online, avoided eye contact, crossed the street to avoid passing people on the sidewalk, but it didn't matter. Every interaction, no matter how brief, came with a number. The woman at the pharmacy window, the man who held the door open at the bank, even people who just happened to walk past me, and the numbers kept falling. 6,000, 5,000, 4,000. I started keeping track, writing them down in a notebook, trying to find a pattern. How many numbers per day? What was the rate of decrease? If I could figure out the pattern, maybe I could figure out what it meant. What happened when it reached 0? That's when the fear really set in. Because what happens at 0? What are they counting down to? I tried talking to people about it. My sister came over for dinner, and I worked up the courage to ask her if she'd noticed anything strange. Anyone whispering numbers? She laughed. What are you talking about? You haven't heard anyone saying numbers? Random numbers when you pass them on the street? She gave me that look, the concerned one, the one that says she's worried about me but doesn't want to make it worse by saying so. Maybe you should talk to someone, she said gently. A therapist or something. Work's been really stressful for you. And I'm fine, I snapped. Forget I said anything. After she left, I sat in the dark, staring at my notebook full of numbers. all descending, always descending. I was the only one who heard them, which meant either I was losing my mind or something was happening that only I could perceive. I wasn't sure which option was worse. The numbers dropped faster after that. 3,000. 2,000. I stopped sleeping entirely. How could I sleep when every waking moment was a reminder that something was counting down? Something inevitable approaching. I started researching obsessively. Anything about numbers, prophecies, curses, supernatural countdowns. I found stories scattered across obscure forums and conspiracy websites. Other people who'd heard numbers, but those stories never had endings. The posts just stopped. The accounts went silent. I tried to find them, sent messages to usernames that hadn't been active in months or years. Stop asking questions. Don't try to find out what happens at zero. Just know that when it's your turn, you can't stop it. I'm sorry. That was it. They never replied again. 1,900. I stopped leaving my apartment entirely. I had everything delivered to my door. And even then, I'd wait until the delivery person was gone before opening it. But it didn't help. I could hear them through the door, through the walls. 642, 641. It was like they knew where I was, knew when I was listening. 700 became 600 became 500. Time moved differently now. Hours felt like minutes, days blurred together. All I could focus on was the numbers, always falling. 400, 300. I started seeing them in my sleep, projected on the backs of my eyelids, glowing red numbers, ticking down. Sometimes I'd wake up and the numbers would still be there, floating in the darkness of my room, and I couldn't tell if I was awake or still dreaming. 200. I tried to run. I packed a bag, got in my car, and drove. I didn't know where I was going, just away. Maybe if I left the city, left everything behind, the countdown would stop. Maybe it was tied to this place, these people. I made it 50 miles before I had to stop for gas. He leaned in. 187. I didn't even pay. I just drove. Tears streaming down my face. The gas light coming on 20 miles later. I pulled over at a rest stop and sat in my car, shaking. There was no running from this. Whatever it was coming for me specifically. The universe itself was counting down. Every stranger a messenger, delivering the news of my approaching end. 100. The numbers were coming faster now, even though I wasn't seeing anyone. The old man with the pigeons. All of them. Overlapping. Counting down in unison. 90. 80. 70. I thought about ending it myself. If something was coming for me at 0, maybe I could cheat it. Go out on my own terms. But what if that's what it wanted? What if that's what 0 meant all along? 60. 50. 40. My phone rang. I almost didn't answer, but it was my sister. I picked up, my hand trembling. "Hey," she said. "I just wanted to check on you. You seemed really off last time we talked." "I'm fine," I lied. In the background of her call, I could hear someone else. A voice, distant but clear. 38. "Who's that with you?" I asked. "What? No one. I'm alone. Are you sure you're okay?" 37, the voice said, clearer now. "I have to go," I whispered, and hung up. 30, 20, 10. I'm sitting in my apartment now, writing this down. Maybe so I'll have something to focus on besides the voices that are screaming in my head now. No longer whispers but shouts, all counting down in perfect synchronization. 5, 4, 3. The apartment is silent except for my breathing. I'm staring at the door. I don't know what I'm expecting to see. An entity. Death itself. Nothing. 2. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely write. Every muscle in my body is tensed. Waiting. 1, 0. Nothing happened. I sat there for what felt like hours, waiting. The voices were gone. The whispers had stopped. Silence. Complete and total. For the first time in days, I started laughing, relief flooding through me. It was over. Whatever it was, I'd survived it. Then I heard the sound. A knock at my door. Slow, deliberate. 3 times. I walked over, my legs numb, moving on autopilot. I shouldn't open it. Every instinct screamed at me not to open it. But my hand was already reaching for the knob, turning it, pulling the door open. There was no one there, just my hallway, empty and quiet. I stepped out, looking both ways, but there was nothing, no sign of anyone. I started to laugh again, shaky and relieved. I was losing it. I'd finally cracked. Then I passed by Mrs. Chen from 3B. She was checking her mail, and she glanced up at me. And she smiled. 7,412, she whispered. My blood went cold. What? I grabbed her arm, too hard, desperate. What did you just say? She pulled away, looking at me like I was insane. I didn't say anything. Let go of me. You just said a number, 7,000. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, backing away. Leave me alone. She hurried back into her apartment, slamming the door. I stood there, frozen, my mind racing. 7,412. That was the first number I'd heard. 3 days ago. The number at the beginning. I walked back into my apartment in a daze. I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror and stopped. For just a moment, I saw something else staring back at me. Something that wasn't quite human. Something with hollow eyes and a knowing smile. Then it was just me again. Pale, exhausted, terrified. I went back inside and locked the door, and then I heard it. From somewhere outside. Distant voices. Getting closer. 7,411, 7,410, 7,409. I'm writing this now because I finally understand. The countdown didn't end at 0. It started over. And now I'm the one who has to deliver the numbers. I can feel them in my throat. The urge to speak them to every stranger I pass. I know their faces now. Can feel them approaching before I see them. And I know, with absolute certainty, that I'll turn to them and whisper their number. Flat and emotionless. Just like all the others did to me. I don't know what happens when their countdown reaches 0. But I know they'll find out. Just like I found out. There's someone walking past my door right now. I can hear their footsteps. And I know I'm going to open this door. I know I'm going to follow them. And I know exactly what number I'm going to say. God help me, I can't stop it. The countdown never ends. It just finds someone new.